And I just want to thank the team for hosting this evening's space. They're doing a fantastic job in the back room for comms, especially during this time of transition. Thank you so much. Tonight is a special evening which we reserved for the voices of young people. Unfortunately, according to the UN guidelines, I no longer qualify as young, but I'm very young at heart. So I'm not going to say a lot because we really want to hear from the generation of the moment, to hear what their aspirations are, what some of the drawbacks they're facing around voter registration, and also just to hear what their aspiration and expectations are as we enter this very important political season, as we face the 2023 election. Now, I just wanted to say personally that, I used to be that person who chose not to be involved in politics, to sit in the terraces, to be like, no, I just want to be a simple conservative lawyer. I don't want to rock the boat. But there came a time when, life started to change for us in Zimbabwe. And this was really a consequence of bad governance, bad decisions. And I think it culminated in the decision to introduce bond notes. And this coincided with this flag. And we really had no option but to participate as citizens. And what I really want to encourage everyone is, sometimes you feel like there's no space for you in the movement, or no space, you're not the right kind of person to do politics. I've got news for you. You absolutely have space, and there definitely is room. As young people in approaching 2023, not only should we insist on registering to vote and voting, but we should also participate in a really big way. As young people, we should be the ones putting our hands up to use our skills to be polling agents. We should be the ones volunteering to coordinate fundraising for a particular initiative. We should be the ones championing a strong volunteer program. We should be the ones pushing forward, alternative policies. And there's so many interesting things going on in the world today. Talk about green energy, talk about, sustainability, talking about, all sorts of things on the legal front. And, there's so much space for young people to participate. So this is really a time where, as young people, we should not be saying, what can Triple C or what can the movement do for me? Rather, we should be asking ourselves, what can I do for the movement? What can I pay as an investment in my future, and my wish for a brighter Zimbabwe? What can I do? How can I be, I don't want to say be the change because it's so be the change, but we really, if we want to start seeing change in our political space, we really have to act. We have to ask tough questions, we have to speak up, and we have to act. Change is not just going to come automatically while we sit back and tweet, while we sit back in our houses and watch Netflix, or while we sit back and do absolutely nothing and share memes or TikToks. We really have to step up. And, I just want to say that as citizens, we're doing okay, but I think we can definitely do more. We have to own the process. Don't let politicians of any nature run away with the political space. Always make sure that citizens are holding all politicians to account. Politicians like Mugabe don't just happen. They happen because citizens are apathetic, they're not participating, they're not playing their part, they're not voting, they're not asking the tough questions. So we really have to start taking the citizens as an institution, in an institution that's really there to hold all politicians accountable, to vote and demand answers. If someone is running for office, ask them, what is your plan for progress? Evaluate their sincerity of motive. So when we say people should register to vote, it's not registering to vote just as a box ticking exercise, but it's the first mandatory step that every person must take as part of their civic duty to participate and contribute to the greater good of their nation. So we really, really, really are encouraging everyone. I know the campaign is around registering to vote, which you should all do, but there is a larger conversation there around political participation, whether you're a young woman, a young man, a college student. ask yourself, what do I want for Zimbabwe? How can I contribute to that? How can I raise my voice in my demand for that, just so that we don't land back in the same spot in 2023, or even, 10 years later, asking ourselves, how do we remove ZANU-PF? And that's the reality we're staring in the face if we don't step up to participate in our political processes, if we don't register to vote. And we have to go even beyond that. We have to make sure our siblings, our family members, if you know anyone who is turning 18, turning 19, turning 20, and would be a first-time voter, it literally is your obligation to say to that person, look, go and register to vote today, or let's go and take your ID. Let's go and make sure that you are registered, because every vote counts. If we can make sure that every single household ensures that, their first-time voter is registered to vote, that will go such a long way in ensuring that we secure democratic change in 2023. And as the Citizens Coalition for Change, we've set a target of 6 million votes. This vote, or this number, is absolutely achievable. All it means is that, if we had 2 million or 2.1 or 2.6 million in 2018, all it takes is for us to multiply each vote by 3. So if I voted, then I find two. All each person needs to do is to find 2 first-time voters. You can't tell me that that's too much to ask of citizens. Each of us can make sure that we just register just 2 new people. That's all you have to do. And then we're good to go. And once we overwhelm the system, they will have no chance. Once we win by like a huge margin, it will be extremely difficult, if not impossible, for them to rig. The Zambian experience taught us that, and so has the experience in a few other countries where they've had electoral malpractice. Now, just in closing, I want to say that we can see what the Zimbabwe Electoral Commission is trying to do. Even if you look at the format in which they set out the voter registration centers, and the way everything is jumbled up, and the way, certain constituencies have more seats because they think ZANU has a greater chance, we can see exactly what it is they're playing at. But we have to be smarter. We have to be ahead of the game, and as citizens say, look, it could take me a whole afternoon, but that's the investment I'm willing to make to secure a brighter future. So please, I implore every single citizen, every single young man, every single young woman, even the grown folk, we also have a part to play. If you registered in 2018 or for the 2018 election, you don't have to vote this time. You don't have to register, I beg your pardon, this time round, but you do have an obligation to ensure that you find 2 new first-time voters. As a party, as a movement, we're also doing our part to mobilize on the ground. I think every single branch has got an obligation to secure a set number of new registrants. But, it's a task that behoves us all as citizens. It's our combined responsibility. Let's move away from that politics of sitting back and saying, someone else is going to do it, whether it's President Chamisa or Job Sikala or Hopewell, or someone else is going to do it. You have the responsibility. You are accountable in as far as ensuring that we secure the bright future that we all aspire to. And when that new government comes, we will all have more jobs. We will all have an improved healthcare system. We'll all have a better education system. We'll all ensure that there's money in our pockets, money in our banks. We're able to save. We're able to get mortgages as young people. We're able to get opportunities. We're all able to have a country as Zimbabwe where there's freedom, fairness, and opportunity for all. So obviously I'm a lawyer and a politician, so I could speak all night. All that remains is for me to thank you all so much for joining the space, and let's all speak out freely about our hopes, our aspirations around voter registration today. Make sure your voice is heard. Participating in the space in and of itself is a huge step. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about what we can all do differently. If you've got a demand, if you've got a contribution, if you've got an idea, please, let's all hear it tonight. So thank you so much. And I really want to thank my deputy, Ostalos. He's doing fabulous work. Like, he is fantastic to work with, running around. So thank you so much, Ostalos, for hosting us this evening. And thank you very much, citizens. Let's do the heavy lifting necessary to ensure that we win Zimbabwe for change. Thank you very much.